Okay, here we go. Another extremely stupid video by yours truly. I suck. Projection sorcery is one of the most interesting curse techniques in the entire series. Or maybe it's just the only one I can wrap my head around, I don't know. But while it's technically just a speed technique, it comes across as a metaphor to me, because I am psychotic. If I were to overanalyze the mechanics of projection sorcery, which I will, I'll see how it punishes deviation, the way it requires extreme planning and attention to detail, the way it forces others into its rules, starts looking a lot less like a power and more like something representing neurodivergence. Projection sorcery divides 1 second into 24 frames of animation using the user's field of view as the projection angle of view. I buffered there for a moment. The user can trace a predetermined set of movements into those 24 frames and execute them in that single second. But Wyatt, how is anything about this neurodivergent seeming? Hold on. Let me show you. Projection surgery requires the user to process an incredible information in time to act it all out in 1 second. As you might guess, this requires an insane amount of hyperfocus. Projection sorcery users aren't just going fast, they're making up 24 movements in less than a second. One wrong move and they'll turn into a film frame. It's really awkward. Projection sorcery could be compared to scripting. At least I think that's what it's called. A lot of neurodivergent people pre-calculate everything they do, their jokes, their responses, even how they move. However, if this script is thrown off by an unexpected situation, it can cause, well, a lot of problems. Meanwhile, if a projection sorcery user tries to divert from their pre-written plan or something interferes with it, it causes them to freeze, much like how a neurodivergent person could have a negative reaction towards an unexpected change. And when the user touches someone whilst using their technique, the person they touch has to follow along with the 24 frame idea and plan out their own moves in 1/24 of a second or something. And if they don't, they get turned into a frame. This sort of mirrors the frustration of communication gaps between neurodivergent and neurotypical people. When someone doesn't follow the unspoken script in your head, the interaction freezes or turns hostile even if you never explained it in the first place. This is a good illustration of the double empathy problem. Usually the neurodivergent person is the one trying to calculate the other's moves, but projection sorcery flips the script. It forces the neurotypical opponent to experience the exhausting frame-by-frame processing that the user lives in every day. It flips the burden of communication entirely onto the person who usually gets to take fluidity for granted. This rigid scripting isn't just a choice, it's a result of how the user perceives reality. The insane amount of detail required for projection sorcery also reminds me of bottom-up processing, where you see every little detail instead of a big picture. Bottom-up processing is the opposite of top-down processing, where you use things like expectations and prior knowledge to interpret what's happening. But bottom-up processing involves taking in sensory information from the environment and processing it without relying on prior knowledge or expectations. For example, a neurotypical child might look at a classroom and immediately recognize this as a math lesson. The child who thinks bottom-up might notice the ticking clock, the pencil scratches, or the numbers on the board before piecing together that those details mean math time. I personally don't think that's a great example. I got it off of Google, okay? But anyways, like I always say, I'm probably wrong about everything, so take everything I say with just a grain of salt. This hasn't been confirmed at all, and honestly, projection sorcery is probably just projection sorcery. Just a cool animation speed technique that has absolutely nothing to do with neurodivergence. All of this is probably just me projecting, no pun intended, my own problems onto some poor Jujutsu sorcerers. So, don't trust me.